Check. Okay. Good. Oh, this is gonna be nice. Giving people some time to come in. First episode 2023. I plan on doing this every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Brought to you by B.O.C. Browns of Columbus. I'll be your host, Mr. Bingo, talking all sports Browns. Um, when you come in, subscribe, like, help spread the word. This is going to be something that I do all season. I will be bringing on guests, other hosts to also talk about the Browns. This is not going to be your typical Browns talk. Um, I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna make it a point. I ain't gonna say I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make it a point not to just discuss what most of the talking heads are talking about. I will touch on them, but I won't, for example, do what they did last year to Deshaun. I can't. I'll have a different point of view. Y'all might like it, you might not. Mm, that's on you. You know what I mean? It's up to you to digest. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not, here to preach to you. I'm just actually going to talk how I feel about, the Browns. What this upcoming season going to be, what to look for in the preseason. Uh, we'll talk about Joe Thomas, first ballot Hall of Famer, first time in a long time that the Browns had someone make it to the Hall of Fame. So that we're gonna talk about that. That's very important. We'll also talk about rest in peace, Jim Brown, um, and maybe discuss how the passing of Jim Brown might be able to help the Browns this season. We'll touch on it. We'll talk about some of the draft picks. Of course, Deshaun Watson. And I'm hearing that the defense is playing real good right now coming out of training camp, where if you play football, you already know once you get into the team drills that the defense already have a pretty much a leg up. It's easier for them to gel than it is for the offense. But that would be good because we want our defense to give our offense troubles. It's like iron sharpen iron. So if the defense is, balling out, then the offense will have to step up. So if they get that during the week, come game time, should make the game slow down for a lot of the players. Some of them not. We'll talk about the matchup between Garrett and Jed Wills. That right there is going to be something to keep an eye on the rest of preseason. It can go one or two ways. It could be a blessing or it could be a curse. We'll discuss that. The Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people don't sit around and watch like the Hall of Fame, but I am a NFL. I am a football nut. I love the combat sport, all aspects of it. So even though I talk Browns, I will watch other games. I won't cheer for them, but I love to watch. The game. It's almost like it's the last reality TV show out there. So we'll discuss that. Uh, we got the two backup quarterbacks. One's going to play the first half. The other one's going to play the second half. And talking about the quarterbacks, it would be Kellen Mond. He'll come in the first half. He'll start. Then at halftime, they'll bring in Dylan Thomas Robinson, the rookie that we drafted. Uh, so a lot of the starters are not going to suit up or play in this Hall of Fame game. So it'll give some of the walk-ons or undrafted free agents and draft picks a chance to shine. Um, those that just came looking to fulfill their dream, a chance to um, put some film on tape or possibly make the team. It's going to be a lot harder this year than it has, let's say, in 2000s, where we was known to bring in undrafted free agents and they make the team. The way this roster is put together now, it's going to be difficult, real difficult. So as they come in, we're going to officially get started. Excuse me, at 9 o'clock, and we'll get into some of these discussions. And I do apologize for the last week. I had technical difficulties. I had to work through them this week, and I'm here. You see, I'm rocking the Deshaun Watson jersey. Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to debate. Trying to debate. Should I? No, I'm not. I'll probably scan over it, but I ain't gonna really talk about it. Talk about the trial and all that. That's last year. Those that like him gonna like him. Those that's not, I ain't gonna like. So we won't talk, or we'll just keep that positive energy uh, for this season. Also, I did do a theme song for the club. Next week should have it edited in, and we'll see. Yeah, please bear with me. This is my first uh, live podcast. Um, I'm not a stranger to talk shows or hosting and talking sports. This is I've been away for a while. Now I'm ready to get it in. Ready to get it in. Football season's coming. Good evening, good evening, good evening, y'all. My name is Mr. Bingo. I am here repping Browns of Columbus. B.O.C. Tonight will be episode 1 of a long line of talk shows to come. Um, so I'm looking forward to getting to know y'all. I'm looking forward y'all getting to know me, for us to talk back and forth about the team, we love, the Browns. Please bear with me. This is my first time doing the live thing. So as I grow, I hope that y'all grow with me and things will get better and better. So every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, Browns of Columbus, Dawg Talk with Mr. Bingo. And I wanted to label it Dawg Talk because in order for us as Browns or the Browns organization to get back to where we haven't been in a while, since maybe the mid 80s, we have to have a dog's mentality. We can't keep, getting on the field and hoping to win games. We got to get in the game knowing that we can win, that we will win, that we'll bring our A game. Tonight we'll be talking about Deshaun Watson, how the NFL came out with their tiers where he fall in place. We'll be talking about the preseason, uh, some of the off-season news that I'm hearing, some of the footage I've been getting a hold of, what the team is looking like, and also I'd like to talk about changing the energy of the Cleveland Brown fan base. Let let this sink in for a minute. Changing the energy of the Cleveland Brown fan base, because for so long, anytime something happens or goes against the Browns, it's like you can feel the energy just change. Like it's a snowball effect. Like what else is going to happen? We've been there. We've done that. The only thing now is that we have to change it if we're going to move forward. Because once I've learned so much about energy, just imagine everybody in that stadium having that same nervous energy. That energy bleeds into the team. So we have to, as fans, work on changing our energy as well as watching the team grow. I'm excited. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm excited about this season. Very optimistic, but I'm excited because they have put, we say, Andrew Berry has put a lot of talent together on this team. Whether they play like a team, we'll see. But I feel they're gonna make some noise this year. Whether they're ready for it or not, if they come out because if they come out this season and they're balling out, they're gonna be on everybody's radar. You know what I mean? People are talking about them now, but they're talking about them in that undertone, like same old Browns. But having the quarterback that we have now, following him since college, once he get entrenched in it, oh boy, Deshaun Watson is gonna be that deal. He's gonna be that deal. I know everybody's not big on him right now because of the 6 games that he had last season. But me, I seen some things in those games that gave me a good insight to what could come. Um, Understanding that that man had to deal with off the field issues that took his focus and drained a lot of his energy, so he couldn't be the Deshaun Watson, the quarterback that he has always been. This year he has a full off season, um, a new offense that him and Stefanski is working together on. It should be a little bit of what Coach want and what Deshaun ran in Houston. Just trying to find that blend. And he has weapons. If you look across the offense, you got Cooper, Elijah Moore, you got Donovan Peoples Jones. Those are just three wideouts. Then you got Njoku. You got a top five offensive line, and not to even talk about the one that he got that people are going to be slipping on this year is Nick Chubb. See, a lot of people thinking that because Deshaun Watson in the offense is going to be a passing offense, that Nick Chubb is not going to get his touches, his carries. In theory, it sounds right, but let me give you another way of looking at it. If you follow Deshaun, his career, he's always used a running back to help position the defense for his game. In college, he, would audible out of pass plays to hand off the ball. Same principle we're going to use here in the pros. He has one of the best, if not the best right now, running back in the game in Nick Chubb. So if they come out and they're playing nickel and dime and the play call is not favorable for him, he's one of the first quarterbacks in the last, I say, 5 to 10 years, especially since coach has gotten here, that is going to be able to audible out of plays, which is a big advantage for not only the Browns, but our running game. Because everybody's going to assume since Deshaun Watson is the quarterback now, we go 3 wide receivers tight end that we can get out, make it look like we run a spread. It's going to leave a box open for Chubb. So he started eating and getting them yards. What they going to do? A defense now got to stop the run, so they're going to bring in a package to stop the run. Now that opens up the pass. It should work similar or just that easy. It depends. But these are the options that the Browns have now with the weapons that they have and a quarterback that can audible out of bad plays. Prior quarterback couldn't. The coach wouldn't let him. If he called a play, he had to run that play. 3-step drop, get it out. Now it's going to be a mixture of under the center, shotgun, pistol, be able to keep a defense on its toes. And before I go any further, I like to say much love, rest in peace to Jim Brown. The Brown family lost an icon. Oh man, it was sad when I heard it because that Jim Brown, whoo, and then a big ups to Joe Thomas for making it to the Hall of Fame first ballot. It's been a while since the Browns have been able to celebrate someone to hit that level in this game, especially when you think about the era that Joe Thomas played in. He didn't play with a good team. You know what I mean? We had a lot of losing seasons while he was the left tackle of the Browns. But he was so professional that it didn't make a difference. He was still in the Pro Bowl, still all pro. Big ups. I'm glad he came to the Browns. I remember when he got drafted, and people was like, a tackle, and he didn't even attend the ceremony, the draft ceremony. He was out fishing with his pops. I was like, oh yeah, that's a worker right there. He wasn't worried about all the bells and whistles in the limelight. He was just relaxing. So, I've been a Joe Thomas fan since he came to the team. I wish that things would have played out better for him as far as, the team having um, better personnel, better coaching, so where he could have seen the playoffs, you know what I mean, and gotten deep into the playoffs when he was there. But I'm happy that, he's in the Hall of Fame. Uh, Kudos, big ups. Uh, Also, I want to talk about the coaches and some of the writers came out. I don't know if it was this week or the last week, but it's been a topic of discussion for the last two, um, when they go to rating these quarterbacks and trying to figure out where Deshaun really fits into the whole scheme or the whole tier of things. It's a valid point if y'all want to sit back and say, seeing what he did the last 6 games of last year, we can't put him at number one. Hard pressed put him at number two. He might be three. We don't know if he got it. That's valid. But he wasn't injured. See, usually when a quarterback comes back from injury after 2 years, those questions are very valid. He sat out for 2 years. That means he had fresher legs, less wear and tear on his body. He just got to let the game slow down for him again, like it did in Houston. And I believe it will here in Cleveland as he grows as a quarterback in this system. But they have tier one Mahomes. Can't argue with that. The proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? 2 Super Bowls, he been lighting it up. They also have Joe Burrows in tier one. Give it to him. He has been balling. Um, so I can see that. Then they drop down to tier two and they have Allen and they have Herbert. Unless I'm missing something, his resume don't speak to tier two right now. That's just me. Is he talented? Yes. But to put him amongst the tier two, he hasn't shown me enough. And then when you say that about a Herbert, then they want to say, well, look at who's his coach. Okay, you can say that. But then I could also throw this at you and say, who was Cincinnati's coach before Burrows got there? Make any sense? So you can't justify him not having those accolades or bringing that team to um, the playoffs and getting deep into the playoffs on the coach. Because if I'm not mistaken, both of those coaches was pretty much at the same level coaching the teams. Now, Burrow's got his coach almost ready to get an extension. Herbert, one more year, and they don't make it to the playoffs, his coach might get fired. So I'm hard pressed to put him in tier two right now. But they're quick to put Deshaun Watson in like tier three. Earn it. He will. You know, can't argue with that. Y'all put him there, he'll dig his way out. We will revisit this conversation at the end of the season when they reevaluate the quarterbacks. And we'll see where he's stands. Because right now, all of it is pretty much a prediction until the season, unfolds. You can say that about Mahomes and Burrows because of what they did the last 2 seasons. So since Deshaun Watson didn't play really the last 2 seasons, but the last 6 games, you got to give him a season or two, and we'll see where he was. But remember, before he shut it down with Houston, a lot of people was talking about him as being a quarterback up there with a Mahomes. The 2 years off made people think differently, which is understandable. But I believe he is going to get back. And if he does, or let me put it like this, when he do get back to being the quarterback that he has been, the Browns is going to be in a better place. You know what I mean? It's going to be uh, battling up there for the AFC title, and it's going to be hard because the AFC North is a gauntlet. You have Cincinnati, who's been recently to the Super Bowl, deep in the playoffs. You have Baltimore with Lamar, which is a stout team, always being organization. Kudos. You have the Steelers, which is down, but you can never go against Tomlinson. Can't. He proved that last year. I was one that believed that they wouldn't finish 500, but that coach proved all of us wrong. You know, because I wasn't the only one that said it. Um, Once again, I want to thank all y'all for um, choosing the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe. This is going to be every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So, you know, if you're sitting around the house and you just want to chop it up on some Browns talk, come to Browns of Columbus, 9 o'clock on YouTube, and we'll be doing just that thing. So thank you. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about is as fans, we need to change our energy. We definitely got to change our energy. I know the statement's been thrown out there it's the same old Browns. But we as fans have to change that if we expect our team to change it. Because if we give them nervous energy going into the stadium, they're going to receive that nervous energy, and it's going to have an adverse effect. So we need to change our energy when we go to the stadium. It's going to take some time because we've been beat down for so long as far as fans, so long. It's always next year. It's always wait for the draft. But if you notice that since the new regime done came in here, we no longer talk about the draft as much as we have starting in the middle of the season. Some these last couple drafts, we haven't even had number one picks, first round picks. But if you look at it just in the sense of picks, it could look bad. But 2 years ago, our number one pick was Deshaun Watson. This year, we didn't have a number one, and we traded for a number two, and we got Elijah Moore. So he's been willing and dealing and putting this team together, and I'm excited to see what the season brings. Real excited. We had two new additions to the coaching staff. We brought in Bubba Patron as a special teams coach. He played he played for Cleveland on the special teams, and now he's back to coach. Like that move, one because he's going to bring and instill an importance of special teams and how it can either help us win or help us lose. So I think it's going to be very, very beneficial to have him as a coach. And then we brought in Swartz. One thing I like about this defensive coordinator is that his defense of mindset is aggressive. Think about that for a minute. Last season we had Joe Woods, and we played mostly a zone. When you play a zone, that's a passive defense, meaning that you're covering an area of the field. Um, Wide receivers can run through your zone, and you're passing one. Once they pass it through your zone, you're passing a person to another person. It's a lot of room for pointing fingers, miscommunication, bad things that happen. Plus, it's just a passive defense. With Jim Schwartz, he's going to play man to man on the back end, and he's going to rotate his defensive line in to put pressure on the quarterback. Pretty much playing the run, playing the pass, and the run. So it's a more aggressive defense, which I think will play into the Browns' benefit because you have Ward, who's been known as a shutdown corner. So he loves playing man to man. He played it in college, and it was what made him shine when he came to the Browns was being able to play man to man. So in the back end, doing that, it's mano a mano. If you have a man and your man scores, you can't say it was somebody else. That's on me. You understand? So they won't be able to point the finger. They have to take more pride in what they do on the field because of the man to man, the aggressive defense they're going to play. And it's going to allow Myles Garrett to eat. You understand? It's excuse me. Changed our defensive line. So that means now we're more stout up front and we can get to the quarterback. And they double team Myles Garrett, which is going to be hard to do this year because I'm hearing coming out of camp that they're going to be moving Myles around. See, the prior 2 to 3 years, knowing that he was our best defensive player, he always rushed from the right side. So rushing on the right side allows a offense to call the coverage or the blocking scheme to his side and give them a greater chance to double team him because they know where he's coming from. But take it that the offensive line get down. Now Myles Garrett jumped from a defensive end over to the tackle. If that running back assumed that he was going to be out on the outside, he has to change and think about where his double team is going to be. Scary. Scary. And then if them boys, just gel together, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice because that means everybody else, if they play their role, or even if they do have some dog in them, they're going to shine anyway. You understand? So it's going to be real nice to see him come out there. Now his running mate on the opposite side is Zadanian Thomas. He's, average somewhere around 6 sacks a season. Think that's going to be bumped up with who he's going to be paired with. And then you talk about, you got A-Walk coming back, uh, Taki coming back. The defense should be a lot of help to the offense, meaning that they're going to get the Browns the ball back more often than not. We'll be playing on short fields, meaning that we will try not to and limit them to get down to their 40. Get to shine the ball back, and the more times you got the ball, the more opportunities you got to score. So I can see that, playing a heavy role in the success that the Browns have this year. Um, Plus, I think Miles got a chip on his shoulder, being that, he, of course, everybody know he wants to make it to the Hall of Fame, but always being double teamed, being able to be freed up this year, oh, and he don't have to play as many snaps, so he'd be fresher in the second half. Well, we needing to close out the games. Going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. And thank y'all for coming out. This is Browns of Columbus Dawg Talk with Mr. Bingo. As you see, I rep my Browns. Everybody, I got Cincinnati fans around me. I got Steelers fans around me, but I'm a dog to the day I die. You understand me? So I watch the game. Sometimes I don't even like being around people when I'm watching the game. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking for different things in the game, looking at different aspects of it. Yeah, I see the touchdowns. But I find myself watching defense and offensive line, um, attitudes, body language. Will somebody go to the sideline? Just little things like that. That when I played linebacker, I used to watch because you could tell somebody's defeated by their body language. So I sit and I watch the game just like that. And when I started to think, I'm like, all right, we know we lost Jim Brown, and they're supposed to be having a close ceremony this weekend for him at the Hall of Fame. What if the team used that as a unifier? Now follow me. One of the Browns' most recognizable and iconic players. So at this point, people that was there last year before, and even earlier this year, got introduced to Jim Brown. They know his story. They know the legacy that he is. Him passing, what if they put it in their mind that we're going to play this for Jim? A little extra motivation, for a team that's trying to find its way. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do, but what if they did? What if we? What if they did say we're going to play this season for Jim? And come together as a team. It could spell trouble for a lot of teams out there. Because one, number 4, has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. He has to let them know that he's getting back, or he never really left, or his skills didn't diminish. He hear all the talking heads. Like I was talking about earlier about how they broke down the tiers. I know he wasn't satisfied with being a tier 3 quarterback. That's not the competitive nature in him. So he wants to go out and show and prove that he's a tier 1. What better way to do it than to do it for a organization we're getting back to, but a storied franchise like the Brown. That will say a lot about his career, because we got him for the next 5 easily, but it could be more. He's still a young guy, still a young man. Still a young man. And if we help him through here, who's to say he won't be so appreciative that, what I mean, he do what he gotta do to prove everybody wrong. That he is, that quarterback that he always been. But we'll see. He has all season to prove it, and it's gonna be hard coming out the gate with Cincinnati. Then we play Pittsburgh. Then we play Tennessee, Baltimore, and then we play San Fran. So it's either going to hurt us or it's going to help us coming out the gate. So I'm gonna give you both. If the Browns come out and they go 1-3, doubt can set in. Questions, do are we good enough? Do we deserve it? All that's gonna set in. But if they come out and go 3-1, not only will they be probably number one in the division, but you can have a confidence to say we do belong. We can play with these teams. We are just that good. So one of those two is going to happen. If they split, it's like refocusing and getting ready for the next couple games. But normally the Browns come out beginning of the season kind of slow. They can't afford to do that this year. Not with so many division games front loaded. Even though we'll see them again second half of the season, you don't want to start off in your division 1-3, 1-2. You know what I mean? 2-2 is good. You get to see the teams again, but you don't want to have a slow start this year. Not this year. A lot of things can play out if the Browns go 1-3 or 0-4 going into our bye. A lot of things could play out. Let's not hope that happens, but that's the reality of it. So let's push to go maybe 3-1 or 2-2 in the first four games. That and not only just the record, but how they play. If they play a tight game, tight games in the first four, I can see them getting better as the season go on because they be battle tested with at least two games, two teams that's been in the playoffs coming out our first five games. That will give them the confidence to move forward. Then we'll see how Deshaun plays, see how the defense complement the offense. Is Myles Garrett going to be that beast to go out there and get those sacks, to lead the defense, to be in that conversation for Defensive Player of the Year? I'm gonna tell you two that might be in there that y'all might not think about it. Denzel Ward might be up for Defensive Player of the Year. And don't forget about Emerson on the other side. This style of defense play right into their hands. Both of them are men cover corners. So if our defensive line get pressure on the quarterback, that means the quarterback get less time to throw the ball and more likely to be inaccurate when he throws it, knowing that he's being rushed. So they can either jump routes or they can break the ball up. So I see this defense really, really playing a big part in our success this year, especially if they start off early with the takeaways, with turnovers, interceptions, pressure. Now you can just rotate your offensive line. I'm sorry, you can rotate your defensive line in and out, And by the middle of the season, you'll find out what combinations work best for the defense. How often are we going to have to put Myles Garrett out there? You're gonna want him on third downs, fourth downs, so on and so forth. But the defensive ends we have behind him are no slouches either. You know, we got two we drafted last year that's coming back. We got one we drafted this year. We're gonna see how they play. Everything right now you can't really judge because you're going against your own team. You pretty much know what's going to be ran and how and familiar with the play designs. So we got the Hall of Fame game, and the starters is not going to play then. But come the following week, we have the starters is going to play in game 2 and game 4, which is going to hopefully give them enough time to get up game speed to see how some plays is going to work and how they're going to be, moving forward, or how they go to jail in battle. It, I'm telling you, Browns fans, sit back, relax, and enjoy this season because it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be a nice one. Believe me. I mean, if you look at our roster, we could put a 53-man roster together without no draft picks. The draft picks is luxury because that gives us depth behind the starters. And that's one of the things the Browns needed in the last 5-10 years is to build through the draft like most powerhouse organizations do, because you're growing your talent and not just picking talent from other teams that aren't loyal to the Browns or the Browns way. Um, we're going to have to play like dogs this year. We're going to have a dog mentality. We are. Because once we start to pile up wins, it's different when people underestimate you than when you have a target on your back. And you have to be a dog when you got a target on your back. Have to be a dog. Thank you for tuning in to Browns of Columbus Dog Talk with Mr. Bingo. I'll be here every Wednesday, 9 o'clock, talking Cleveland Browns football. We'll be going over last week's game as we get into the season. We'll be going over next week's game. We'll be talking some stats. We'll be talking injuries. We'll be, any news that come up, we'll be talking about it here on Browns of Columbus. And I'd like to, thank y'all for tuning in. This is my first episode. So it will be getting bigger. It will be getting better. I will be having guests in. I will be trying to get either players or ex-players on as the season go on. Because I've been wanting to do this since last year. Really wanting to do it. Now, I've been doing talk shows for a while. But, I was something that I'm passionate and I love is the Cleveland Browns. So I was like, man, why not? Why not? I really wanted to get out here and talk because all the talking heads had the same Same agenda. The same agenda. I'm gonna tell you one that I follow, and I like to thank him for motivating me to get out here and do this. Is G. Bush, the barbershop. I love his honesty. I love the way he bring it. My man, my man. If y'all get a chance, check out G. Bush, the barbershop. He talks, not only Browns, but he talks all sports. Me, I'm gonna keep it Browns. During the season, we'll be talking about the Browns opponents, um, trades. We'll be talking about all kind of different things. Not your normal, Browns. Do this. This is what's in the news. No, I'm not gonna follow no trend. I will also be giving you news about Browns backers or Browns of Columbus when we have events, when we have meetings coming up. Hall of Fame game, they got a bus trip going down to the Hall of Fame game, and they're going to be tailgating. Uh, Major thanks to Dwayne Carter for organizing B.O.C. So it's going to grow and it's going to get bigger. I promise you that. Because I feel good. I'm ready for the season to start. All August we'll have preseason games, so we'll be talking about some of the undrafted free agents, the draft picks. We'll be talking about Kellen Moore. You know, let's see what we're going to do because now, since the game is tomorrow, they're not going to be playing any starters. Kellen Mond, we're going to see how he does. His position on the team is could be questionable because they drafted a quarterback to back up Deshaun Watson and Josh Dobbs. So whoever plays good, you never know. I can't see them letting their draft pick go, and I don't think you'll be able to slide him on to the practice squad if somebody get injured. You might be able to. There's no telling how Andrew Berry, might do it because I think you could designate so many players without putting them out there um, for another team to be available to another team. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two quarterbacks, play tomorrow at the Hall of Fame game. Then we want to see how the rookie wide receiver Tillman, how he plays. Um, it'd be his first time playing in an NFL setting under the lights, but he come from Tennessee, so they play, a few big games. But it's a whole different beast going from college to the NFL. Things is faster, windows are smaller. Everybody's just as fast as you are. So it'll be interesting to see how he do. I want to see Jerome Ford. Now, I'm not for sure how much of the workload he's going to get tomorrow, since he is on the depth chart, the number 2 running back. Do they get him out there a couple series, let him run, get his feet wet, then pull him out to make sure he don't get injured because he be backing up Chubb? We don't know. We'll see. Then we want to see how the offensive line, the backup offensive line, do. Because you got Nick Harris. Remember, he was supposed to be the starter at center next year. Well, last year, I'm sorry. The starter center last year before he got injured. And Posick took his, pretty much took his spot. but he's gonna be playing with the backups. You got James Hudson that we got from Cincinnati. This is, I think, his third year, um, and he's working with one of the best offensive linemen in the business. So we're gonna see how he developed. Uh, Dunn, remember when he came in 2 years ago? Yeah, he filled some big shoes to help, in the run game, and he was a bona fide, backup. So our offensive line, the second tier, we'll see. Is one is going to be depth, and two, that if say Jed Wills don't pan out, do we have somebody to plug in, or do we have to go out and get somebody? You understand? So they got Dwayne Jones, the rookie from Ohio State, penciled in as the number 2 right tackle. So we're gonna see how he plays out there. He gonna get his feet wet. He gonna play pretty much a lot of snaps at tackle. See if he's comfortable staying at right tackle, or is he willing, or can he move to the left? Big guy. So it's a work. He's a work in progress. He's some some clay that needs to be molded, and he's in the right system to help him out. So we're gonna see, that tomorrow in the Hall of Fame game. We're gonna see, uh, Swartz. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh when I say it, but since he's been drafted, he really hasn't measured up to what he was supposed to. A speed guy, track guy coming out of college. He's supposed to be one of those players to stretch the field. Haven't seen that yet. So we'll see. If you remember last year when he came in, uh, Deshaun Watson went to him twice and he dropped both balls. That can be demoralizing for a quarterback when you hit the receiver right in his hand and he dropped the ball. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to see one of the surprise of camp is Dalen Baldwin. I've heard he's been balling out in camp. Um, he's backing up Bell, which we drafted, last year. We're going to see how these receivers respond to playing in this game. They're going to get a lot of work, a lot of work. And the one thing that I do like this year is that all the quarterbacks fit a similar mode. They all pretty much are pocket but mobile quarterbacks like Deshaun. Meaning, and the importance of that, if you'll take a moment and let me explain, is that if something was to happen to Deshaun, you don't have to change your offense. You can put that quarterback in there. Now, the play is going to drop off because they're not Deshaun. But your offense, a system that you have built and everybody's used to, is going to be the same. Remember last year when Deshaun came back, they had to pretty much change their offense because they had a pocket passer back there, and the offensive line wasn't used to a mobile quarterback, someone that extended plays or change the pocket, his launch area. So that's a benefit to have the 3 quarterbacks behind him all have similar skill sets, so you won't have to change it. So it's going to be a lot to look for tomorrow. Win or lose, I'm just happy that football is back. You know what I mean? I'm just happy that my team, is out there representing because we got one of our own, and Joe Thomas going to get his jacket, and he deserves it. He really deserves it. So that's going to be what I'll be looking for in the offense to see how these players play, kind of attitude are they going to have, as backups. Because even if you go 4-0 in the preseason, don't mean that when it comes to the regular season. But it will show me that these young men are hungry and that they want to make a team. So I'll be looking for that on the offense. On the defense, Myles Garrett, Tollerson, um, Elliott, Smith, and JOK, A-Walk, Sataki, Walker, they won't be playing. The starters won't be playing. So tomorrow on defense, I'll be looking at, Isaiah McGuire back up. I'll be looking for, Hickman, see what he's going to do after going undrafted and getting the shot to play safety for the Browns. That's going to be interesting, to watch. I'm going to see how Isaiah Thomas and Alex Wright see if they stepped up their game from last year. Showing signs of coming off the edge last year. This is the second year in the system. Well, a new system, but on the team, they might be a little bit more comfortable because as rookies, their head was probably swimming due to, just going from college to the pros. So this year, it should slow down for them a little bit. I want to see how they're going to play, and I want to see how that rookie, Ika, the big guy that we got from Oregon to play and plug up the middle. See what he's going to do, what he's about uh, this year. Because one of the questions that the Browns had was, since we had a softness last year at defensive tackle, and we went out and got some like Hurts and Tomlinson, um, how's that going to play out in this year's defense? Because remember last year, teams was just running up the middle on us. They was just hitting us with the run game because we wasn't stout up front. That should change this year. So we're going to keep an eye on, the defensive players, the defensive tackles, to see how they play. And their roles will change from game 1 to game 6 to game 10. And the reason why I say that, because as they get comfortable and they build more and more blocks on their defense, I'm pretty sure you're going to see them start to become interchangeable parts, or the offensive line moving around to find different matchups. So that's something I'll be looking for, progression going from game 1 on into the season. Um, it's going to be a long season, but it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. So fans, please change your energy. Change it. Change it. Let's go along for this ride. If you feel like this after next season, or you still feel like same old, then that's on you. But for 1 year, for one season, let's just get behind this team and give them all positive energy and see where it takes us. If something go wrong, don't get down. Don't say, "Oh, here we go again." Because one thing I will tell you, and it's difficult to say, but I've seen it over the last at least last year. Because of some of the moves that the Browns organization and ownership have made, the officials call the games a little bit different. So we're going to see how that plays out this year. because little thing that you don't know, if you're not one of the upper echelon teams, the referees won't call some calls as fluent as they do for like a Kansas City or Cincinnati or Buffalo. If you're one of them bottom dweller teams, they just hold their whistle. And we're going to see if that same thing plays out this year as the Browns, bring out their new offense and try to upset and get above that 10-win threshold this year. A lot of people say they could be an 8 or 9-win team. I think 10 or 11. But we'll see. They have to go out and prove it. They got to dog up. They got, dog check. Speaking of that, next week, if you haven't already heard it on this page, as soon as you come on, you'll hear the intro or the theme song for B.O.C. Browns of Columbus. Song is called Dawg Check. I wrote and produced it. Hope you enjoy it. And it's been fun. It's been, oh man, talking Brown sports. If you have any questions, want to know anything that, or have anything you want me to discuss, leave it in the chat. Leave me a message. I'll get back to you and I'll talk about it. I'm on next week's show. This has been my first episode and I hope y'all enjoyed it. I definitely did. But remember, Browns of Columbus, Dawg Talk with Mr. Bingo will be here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Talking Brown sports. Thank y'all for coming. And I will see y'all next week. Next Wednesday. I'm out.